Alright guys, we are back in my garage for another video, and today we are going to be doing a full build breakdown on my BMW 340i. I've had this car for about 2 years now, and I've modified it up to a point where I feel like it's the perfect balance of daily driver and track duty car, and it's just been a lot of fun. I feel like I've documented most of the build on this channel, but I just wanted to make a video to cover everything I've done so you guys can maybe get some ideas about your build, ask any questions you have, things like that. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Now, as always, for everybody that's new to the channel, I create these videos to help keep you updated on the latest developments in our community, as well as discuss technical topics so that we have a better understanding of how our engines work. So if you're interested in more videos like that, be sure to subscribe because there will be a lot more coming out in the future. So I'm going to do this the same way that I did for my big turbo 440i. If you guys want to see that video, I'll have it linked down in the description. But we're going to start at the front, work our way around, go inside the car, look at the interior, and then of course finish up looking at the engine bay. So to start off, just for everybody that doesn't know this car, it is a 2016 BMW 340i. I bought it from Copart, fixed it up, and then I've been beating on it ever since. So this car is a ZF8 automatic transmission. It is rear wheel drive, and the packages it came with were basically all the performance stuff that you want without like the extra luxury items. So it's got factory M Sport package, the track handling package. It does have, I think, like the cold weather package or something like that, but it doesn't have like all the cameras and the automatic cruise control and stuff like that. So perfect for my use and what my priorities are. So with that in mind, let's start at the front. Like I said, factory M Sport car. It's got the non-adaptive LEDs, but it has, let's see, these dual slat grills that I got from Keys Motorsports. And then I've also got yellow halos that you can kind of see here. They look a lot brighter at night, of course, but even during the day you can see them pretty well. They don't show up great on camera, but I got both of those from Keys Motorsports. And then, like I said, so this has the track handling package, so it does have the extra coolers in the lower grille, but I also added the CSF heat exchanger. So you can kind of see that behind there. Almost looks like a huge front mount intake, but that's to help cool off the intercooler. And then up top, of course, we've got our Kelford Cams banner. They are a sponsor on the channel, so did that to kind of help support them, put their name out there. Of course, they're super popular anyway, but did that. Now looking at the side of the car, we can see a couple other things. So the windows are tinted, 20% on the sides and the rear. I've also got some suspension mods, so it looks actually lower than it is in some of these pictures, but it's just H&R Sport springs. So it's not like the highest out there. It's not like a Dynon spring that basically barely drops it, but it's also not like the H&R Super Sports that almost gets you as low as coilovers can go. It's kind of right in the middle. This car does have adaptive suspension, so that allows me to maintain that functionality so I can still switch between sport and comfort mode, and it drives soft or gets stiff. So yeah, hopefully this wind isn't blowing you guys out. Hopefully you can still hear me. Sorry about that. But anyway, yeah, so H&R Sport springs with stock adaptive dampers. Now you can almost see my brakes. Now you can see them really good. So with these 18-inch wheels, it takes up the entire space that's inside of there. But these are F80 brakes. So I'm using the adapters that I sell to run the larger 380 millimeter rotor in the front, as well as the 370 millimeter rotors in the rear. So this was never like a factory F30 option. You have to use the adapters I sell in order to make that fit. But much better cooling on track, obviously, with the bigger rotors. So I did that just kind of to give me a little more consistent performance. Otherwise, this is basically my daily setup. So I've got the factory 398 18-inch wheels with Michelin Pilot Sport all season 4 tires. They work really great, handle really well year-round. They don't get super hard in winter or anything, but they still have good grip in the summer. They don't do that great in snow, so I have a different car that I drive in when all this snow is like actually on the road. But otherwise it works great. Like if you live in an area where it doesn't snow but it just gets cold, that's kind of what I recommend. Now for my track setup, I run Apex wheels, SM10s. They're also 18s, 18 by 8.5 in front, 9.5 in rear. And then I run Continental Extreme Contact Force tires, 245 front, 275 rear. So I get a little more meat and a tire that can handle the heat a lot better and just gives me more grip. And then with that, I pair it with DTC 60 brake pads. So daily driving, I just have some ceramic pads on there, but I run a track pad for actual track duty. Now, something else that you can't see under here is I do have front and rear H&R sway bars, as well as SPL end links. And so that, along with an alignment, helped get the car exactly where I needed it to be so it could get good rotation. I also have Millway camber plates in the front. So now I've got 2.5 degrees of camber in the front and 2 degrees of camber in the rear. Before I lowered it, I could only get 1.5 in the rear. So that definitely gives me more stability so I can carry more speed through turns. And then I think the last thing on this side, so I do have Motorsports hardware wheel studs to make swapping wheels a lot easier, especially when I'm at the track. And then I use spacers as well for Motorsport hardware. I only use these on the stock wheels, but specifically because there's so much camber, I really need it to space out the wheel, because you can see how sunk in the wheel is. It was a lot worse before, but with 2.5 degrees up front, it like just sucks it in. This is with a 15 millimeter spacer, by the way. Really, I probably need like a 20 millimeter spacer if I want it to be flush. So really depends on your alignment and your whole suspension setup. But for me, I run 15 in the front and then 12.5 spacers in the rear. Now coming around to the back of the car. So I guess the first thing, of course, is the plate everybody asks me about. It's not a shot at M3 owners or anything in particular. I'm just not a fan of DCTs personally. I really like the 8-speed auto from ZF. I do track with a lot of Porsches, and you know, they also have DCT transmissions, so it's not specific to M3s for everybody that's getting some heartburn over that. It's just because personally I feel like they're not fun to daily drive. They're kind of clunky. They give you none of the control you get with an actual manual transmission, but it still has a lot of the poor like driving characteristics and stuff. Unless you're like wide open throttle slamming gears, it's not something I really enjoy. So that was just me trolling people. I also added the flex fuel badge. I think I got this from like a Chevy parts bin part number I found online. Found a used one on eBay and then installed it right there. So the car is flex fuel tuned also, for people that are asking. So yeah, it does fit the bill. We also have AWE exhaust tips on my AWE axle back. I also got that from Keys Motorsports. And then underneath the car, again, more stuff that you can't see from here, but I have an M Performance LSD along with PowerFlex subframe bushing. So that kind of helps lock down the rear when I'm going around the track. You know, it just gives me the traction I need without the slop that I don't want. And more stickers, of course. Each of these are about 30 to 50 horsepower, depending on which one it is. And then let's go ahead and get inside the car. Like usual, I haven't really done a lot inside the car. Let's zoom out. So it is, again, factory M Sport. So factory M Sport steering wheel, factory paddles. I do have the red start stop button, but the previous owner installed that. I just never took it out. Coral red interior. And yeah, I mean, pretty straightforward. I do have my Uniden radar detector, which I've posted a review on. I'll have a link to that in the description if you guys want it. And then also my Blackview DR770X dash cam. So that films front, rear, and interior. It has 3 cameras. I'll also have a link to that in the description. And if you guys use my code, you can get 10% off any order on Blackview's website. But if you want to order specifically what I have in this car, the DR770 is what I have. But yeah, like I said, ZF8 auto. Nothing else really special in here. So let's go ahead and look under the hood. I'm guessing this is what most of you came here to see. And there it is. So this is Obviously a Gen 1 B58 engine. We'll start with the intake and work our way back. So we've got a race-ready performance intake along with, oh wait, let's get out of this. There we go. So we've got a race-ready performance intake going down to a dynamic AutoWorks UltraFlow X turbo. I keep stumbling on that, trying to make sure I say it right. Then we've got this Apex built charge pipe going into a Bimmer Network billet intake manifold. It's running port injection, 750cc injectors, controlled by a motive reflex that also controls the flex fuel, all custom tuned on MHD by Doug over at Subframe Tuning. In the cylinder head, I've got Kelford Stage 1 cams. And then coming back here, we've got the Bimmer Network heat shield going into a race-ready performance downpipe, and then a modified OEM mid-pipe. We also have the Ross Racing Performance PCV delete, as well as some of his fittings and stuff to delete my evap. And I think that's pretty much it. Oh, and I also have a transmission tune. It has a custom tune from Rod Sutphin flashed on XHP. So I think that pretty much covers everything. My TU high pressure fuel pump still holding it down over here. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, I think this car is exactly what I wanted to build, because when I bought it, I wanted a car that I could daily drive and also track. I wanted something that was mixed purpose, not full send in any regard, but something that I could just enjoy. And where it is right now, it's making around 600 to 650 wheel horsepower on E85. On pump gas, it's a low boost map. It's only making about 20 PSI. So on track, I can have good traction and like manage it when going around turns. And then, you know, we've got over 30 PSI for the street when I run ethanol. So the best of both worlds. I really enjoy this setup. I still think you can have a lot of fun even if you're just full bolt-on. You know, stock turbo with TU pump and a downpipe does a lot of work as well. But, you know, this is a good setup to kind of max out your stock engine, your stock transmission, without risking damaging anything. This is, in my opinion, kind of the happy place for a stock B58 drivetrain. So let me know your thoughts. If you guys have any questions or want to see videos, reviews on specific parts, I'll try to keep up with the comments as well as I can. But, you know, hopefully this gives you a little bit of an idea of what you can do to your car. Oh, and you can kind of see the motive reflex peeking out in there. And then I mentioned my camber plates, but now you can actually see them. Millways. Not quite maxed out. Still more room if I want to add camber in the future. But anyway, so that's the car. Thanks again to everybody that has been watching these videos and supporting this build. I anticipate I'll probably keep it at least through the rest of this season, and then it'll probably be time to move on to something else. So just going to enjoy it while I have it. And yeah, I think that's it for this one. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope this helps. And if you have any other questions or comments, leave them down below.